Alright, I don't even know if I should be videotaping this one because I'm sure to be making some mistakes. First time playing Paths of Glory. I'm going to try to play the historical scenario that involved marking up the map and a couple of cards just so I can remember what's going on, because those are optional rules. It's kind of what the board looks like. They call it the point movement. To me, it's essentially the same effect as area movement, but with a better overlay in terms of being able to regularize things. You don't have to worry about some of the anomalies. It's going to be interesting. I've got a lot of worries about the CDG, the card-driven game system as a whole. But this is definitely a genre, World War I strategic, that will appeal to me a great deal. So this, and here I stand, which definitely I have almost no questions about right now that I'm going to enjoy, are real tests for whether or not I can grow to like the system. Big issue with the system for me. It's hard. I think that's what it comes down to. Because I'll tell you, when you look at a card and it has choices of, I can play it as an event, I can play it for replacement points, which is one of the options down there. I could play it to do strategic redeployment, or I can play it to move units or attack with units, or a combination of the above. But I can only do one thing on a turn. Well, or on an action. That makes it really hard for me to decide which one thing I want to do. And then I've got to decide which card I want to spend and waste if I'm using operations points or resource points. Or do I want to play one of those events? And in most cases, the events go away after you play them. In which case, you no longer have that card in your deck. So if it's got good points, that kind of sucks. There's a lot of choices in these games, and I feel almost overwhelmed by them. On the other hand, when I first started playing war games, I was overwhelmed by some of the first games I played. Stonewall. So I've got a lot of hope for the idea. Certainly in a World War I setting, that kind of decision making. I can only make a limited number of attacks. I can only, if I don't attack, I can use the resources I'm using for that attack to maybe build up my army while it's resting. The only part that's kind of iffy to me is the events. I'm not sure. Some of them, the technological ones, maybe the leadership ones, make some sense. Some of them, maybe less sense. I don't think this game has mandatory events, which means that it's always up to the player whether or not they want to use the event for a political cause. Now, if it's a political event in another player's realm of control, it's really hard to justify that, the Tsar took over command because I didn't do anything. Now, the historical scenario actually kind of helps with that. Some of the historical option, a handful of the cards, 3 of the cards that are available on each side, are valuable cards in terms of the points that they give for operations or other use. You still don't get the other use option. And it would be, sometimes it may be a hard choice whether or not to play that really good event or the really good card. Well, they make it a little easier by giving you the operations too when you play the event. I think that means the events are going to come out more easily during the historical scenario, rather than trying to get a military advantage. Whatever that means. The more that players sort of push, especially in terms of events, from what I understand, the quicker U.S. entry and the fall of Russia are accelerated. Also, the decks grow. You get additional cards into the deck as the war expands. Of course, cards are being pulled out of the deck too. Probably that's all old hat. People were used to the CDGs. I know I saw that in Twilight Struggle, and not so much in Here I Stand. But I'm kind of looking forward to it. Unlike block games, I know that I can play these solitaire. So if I can get over whatever hurdle I have with them, and a lot of people seem to love these, I think I can actually really, add something to my overall gaming collection with these games in terms of a different spirit. We'll see. I hope. All right.